Welcome back to Mimi's Organic Eats. Today we're making a sourdough peach galette. If you have fresh peaches from your farmer's market, it is the perfect time to make this beautiful sourdough peach galette. A galette is just a pie without a pan, and this pie is naturally eggless. It has a buttery, flaky pie crust, and it's filled with fresh peaches and a hint of cinnamon. Let me show you guys how to make it. So the first step in making this rustic sourdough peach galette is making our sourdough pie crust. So I'm going to do this in my stand mixer, but if you guys want to do this by hand, you can totally do that as well. You'll just need a large mixing bowl. So I have 127 grams of all-purpose flour and half a teaspoon of cane sugar in my stand mixer. Next, I'm going to chop 113 grams of cold butter, and we want to make sure that this is cold straight from the fridge. So the trick when cutting butter for pie crust is to cut your butter stick in half and then cut each half in thirds. This is going to give you the perfect size butter cubes for buttery, flaky pie crust. Next, I have a small bowl with 2 tablespoons of cold water, and we're going to add in our 2 tablespoons of sourdough discard. Making pie crust with sourdough discard is incredibly easy. Sourdough discard is just flour and water, and those ingredients are already in pie crust. So by adding sourdough discard to pie crust, you're really just adding the same ingredients. It's just going to give it a little bit of a tang and a sourdough flavor. Now we're just going to mix this up with a fork. We just want to combine the sourdough discard and the water completely. Next, we're going to mix our butter, flour, and sugar on low until the mixture looks like wet sand. Then we're going to immediately add in all of our sourdough discard and water mixture, just like we're making traditional pie crust. So just like with regular pie crust, you don't want to overmix the pie dough. So as soon as it comes together, we want to stop the mixer and we're going to finish mixing this by hand. So make sure to have a piece of plastic wrap ready. And then if you need to mix your pie crust a little bit more, just do that by hand. And you just want to do that until you don't see any dry bits of flour. You guys see butter chunks, that's totally okay. We want that. That's what's going to give us a buttery, flaky pie crust. Then just form it into a disc and we're going to wrap it up in plastic wrap. Now we need to let the pie crust chill in the fridge for at least 4 hours or overnight. Once your pie crust is ready to roll out, then it's time to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Now we're going to mix up the ingredients for this peach galette filling. So I have a large mixing bowl here and I'm adding 113 grams of cane sugar. Next I have 21 grams of all-purpose flour. Next we have cornstarch. So I'm using cornstarch to thicken this filling because these peaches are just so juicy. The combination of cornstarch and flour is what's going to thicken this and prevent the bottom of the crust from becoming soggy. If you guys are avoiding corn or you don't want to use cornstarch, feel free to substitute it out for tapioca, arrowroot, or even potato starch. And then last, we're going to add in a little bit of ground cinnamon. Now we're just going to set this bowl aside while we cut up our peaches. So you guys are going to need a pound of peaches for this amazing peach galette. And we're just going to pit these and cut them into thin slices. And I have these amazing donut peaches, which is a little bit lighter in color than traditional peach, but you can use any kind of peaches that you have. Once you guys have peaches cut, go ahead and add them to the bowl with the filling. If you guys have peaches that are like a little bit soft or they sat in your fridge for too long, they're perfect to make this peach galette with. Once the peaches are sliced and they're added into the mixing bowl, we're going to mix all this together for the filling. And you just want to coat the peaches completely in the sugar and flour mixture. Go ahead and set this aside and we're going to grab a baking sheet and a piece of parchment paper. So I have a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper and we're also going to set this aside, and now it's time to grab our pie crust from the fridge. So go ahead and give your surface a little bit of flour. Now we're going to roll out our pie crust to a 1/4 inch thick. And my top trick for rolling out pie crust evenly is to rotate your pie crust 45 degrees. This is going to ensure that you guys get a super even pie crust as you're rolling it out. So just roll, keep rotating at 45 degrees. Once your pie crust seems like it's about the width of the baking sheet, then it's ready to transfer to the baking sheet. So your pie crust is going to be about the whole width of the baking sheet. Now it's time to add the peach filling right in the center. And now you just want to spread this out just a little bit just to get it kind of flat and even. But you want to make sure that you guys are leaving about a 1-inch border around the edge of the crust. that's what we're gonna fold up for our galette crust. So now we're just gonna take our galette crust and we're gonna fold it into the middle of the pie. And then we're just gonna go all the way around the pie until the whole crust is folded up into the middle. So next we're gonna brush the crust with our pie wash, and I'm using a mixture of just honey and water, and it's equal parts honey and water. So I just put 1 tablespoon of honey and 1 tablespoon of water in this small dish, and then I microwaved it for about 20 seconds. Just wanna make sure that you melt the honey completely so that it can combine with the water. Then I'm using this to brush onto the pie crust. This is gonna create a super golden brown and flaky pie crust, and it's egg-free. So if you guys want to use traditional egg, you can do that as well. Just beat up an egg and brush it onto the crust of the pie. You guys could also use heavy whipping cream. That works very similar to egg. But the honey and water option is just my favorite because it's like slightly sweet and it makes up the most golden brown crust of all the pie washes, even eggs. So that's why I always use this honey and water pie wash. It is my absolute favorite. And then last, we're just gonna add a little bit of turbinado sugar on top of the pie crust. And this is totally optional, but I'm obsessed with this and it gives the pie crust like a subtle crunch and perfect texture. If you guys don't have turbinado sugar, you can just leave this off. Now it's time to bake this at 400 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes or until the pie crust is golden brown. And now we have a delicious peach galette. Try serving this sourdough peach galette with a scoop of caramel ice cream on top. You guys will love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this summer pie using fresh peaches from your farmer's market. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and leave a comment below. And if you want more eggless pie recipes just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join me next time in the kitchen. John's been waiting for me to be done filming all day, so now we're gonna go enjoy this peach galette. Well, not John, but I am.